Hey, welcome back. It's been a while. Um, I am the host of Pokemon Cooked League, and matches start next week. We've just finished our actually the drafting of the next league. The rules of it are fairly simple. It's snack decks with no generational gimmicks, so no Z crystals, no Mega Evolutions, no Terra, no Dynamaxing. But the twist of this format is that every mon that was on the initial players' rosters was banned from anyone. So, like, I had Volcarona, no one could draft Volcarona, including me. So, now you may be wondering that some players that were not in last draft. So, how do we make it fair for them? What I did was that I asked them before I even announced the twist to make a fake team of what they would have drafted for the previous draft league, which was the wheel draft, and whatever mock Pokemon they picked were also banned. I'll show you the list of banned Pokemon right here. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a 110 Pokemon, I think it is. But yeah, let's get right into the teams actually. All right, Ryan was selected to go first. I feel like he goes first almost all the time, so whatever. Don't even care, bro. And his team is not that complicated to look at. You see what it does. It's a Sun team. He starts out with the Sun Pokemon that sets up Sun, and almost literally every single mon besides Lunatone is either a fire type, has a sun-based ability, and or both. You know, he's got this team is definitely weather is always tricky to play against, especially if you don't have easy access to your own weather. And this was really smart because a lot of the counter weather setters got banned because they were used last draft. Politoed was banned, Tyranitar got banned, what's the other one? Pelipper got banned, a little Ninetales got banned, even a Alolan Vulpix got banned. That was on a roster. So the Sun was safe and kind of monopoly, so he doesn't have to fight weather wars with someone else. So this idea makes a lot of sense here. You know, this team can definitely run you over. Chi-Yu, Lilligant, these are all mons that can really snowball with games, with Sleep Powder and just really strong moves. And there's obviously any mon with Photosynthesis can have your highest stat raise, which might be an offensive stat. So this is gonna be really annoying to play against. Potential weaknesses of this team is that there's just no easy way to hit dragon types very well. You know, almost all these mons are fire type or grass type, and that's like their main stab moves. So you know, there's definitely coverage in other types, like, you know, Sandy Shark's like ground type, assuming Lilligant's got fighting, etc. But like their main stab moves, their most clickable stab moves, are not very good in dragon types. Obviously, if the opponent can change the weather, the team starts to flounder a bit. I expect Orion to think of crafty ways to keep the weather up, because that's what he does as a player. He finds unique ways to solve problems. But yeah, the team makes a lot of sense. We've seen this archetype before, and it's a very scary archetype. And now, Jake's team. Oh yeah, his team name is literally just Gen 7 because he's got Sun with Torkoal and Moon with Lunatone. The reason why he picked Lunatone is his last one. Jake's team, it's definitely got a lot of like mons that like how I feel like all these mons are like really distinct is what I would put them at. Where, you know, it's like, oh, you have Araquanid. That's a strong water type move mon that can set up webs. We got Excalibur. You have your Dragon Dance Sweeper. We have your Moongus. You have your annoying sporing support mon. You know, Iron Treads is the bulky ground type. You got Vikavolt, a super strong slow special attacker. You got the Talonflame, which is like got priority and a lot of support moves. It's a lot of Mons that I would say that like on first glance, like you kind of know what they're gonna do, which is not necessarily a good or bad thing. Like they're specialist Mons, I would say a lot of these Mons are, where they're like, okay, this is what they clearly do. But that's not always the case. Talonflame can definitely become like more of a sweeper, and sometimes it's more supportive. Jirachi's definitely like the most versatile Mon on this list. Jirachi can, with its 100 base stats across the board, it can be fast, it can be offensive, it can be physical, it can be special. Jirachi's just definitely one of the most versatile Mons you can definitely have. And we have Indeedee. This is Indeedee female exclusively, by the way. For Psychic Terrain to help with Jirachi. It's definitely a collection of Mons, so I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I feel like that since I feel like all of his Mons do something very different, though, which I think helps out in his versatility, where, like, I can see matchups where, like, oh, yeah, where you want to bring some packages, where, like, Indeedee is, like, the more expensive Mon, but, like, it's like, oh, I want to have, like, a Trick Room, like, this is a Trick Room matchup, or, like, maybe your team is a bit slower, but not too much slower. So, like, you want, oh, I can do Arachnoid for webs, or Talonflame for Tailwind. Just definitely a bunch of Mons that can do their own thing, which is really nice. I feel like all these Mons have a decent amount of merit on their own as well, and they don't rely on other Mons for necessarily to do something, which is nice. It makes the Mons be able to work in more spots with the what to switch in and what to not do. All right, his team name is literally just women for a dude and female. We got pro-feminism out there. We love that. Got my team. We have the turning the cornerstones. Now, it was very difficult for me with this draft. I don't know if my team's any good, to be honest. I used Ogre Palm before, I used Wellspring before, but that got banned, and I kind of liked Cornerstone more anyways, without Terra. Just having consistent Rock Stab is always so nice, because that's so hard to come by. So getting that, I felt nice about. You know, I got Tauros for Water type and Intimidate, which is always nice. I'm like, oh, I got some sun related stuff, and I saw another like this duo of Mons that I saw that I was like, I don't like this. Wheezing, not really sure how many matches I'm gonna brought this up, but I did pick this up fairly early because I just saw that a lot of shenanigans was happening, and I didn't like that. You know, I got a couple of dragons. I got Tornadus Incarnate. I actually hate Tornadus. It's one of my least favorite Mons, but I felt like it worked for this team, and it felt kind of necessary because people were just like trying to smash speed control. So having your own Prankster Tailwind is really nice. Having Prankster Weather is really nice, especially Prankster Weather that you can synergize with. I have Wasteable, you know, I got Water for Bleakwind Storm, the Tauros, and I have Fire for my Hisuian Typhlosion. And you can see that once I picked the Tornadus, I kind of started leaning into that more. Typhlosion under Tailwind with Choice Specs Eruption is a big threat and can run away with the game. Bramble Gas has the Wind Rider ability. Having other grass types is always nice. More Spore immunities and Powder immunities, which we see a couple of those Mons. And then I picked Goodra just because it's just so bulky. And then I felt like I was going a bit too on the not hyper offense, but like I needed Mons that were like easy to switch in to reposition. I felt Mew was a good choice for that. Versatile move pool, versatile stats. I felt like having a support Mon like that could be useful. And I picked Clodsire just to have a ground type at the end. I'm not really sure what my game plan is going to be each week against this team. I haven't really mapped that out against a lot of opponents. But, you know, this is interesting for me. You know, obviously with the rules, I can't draft a bunch of my favorites. And I think that's going to affect some people more than others. I think that's going to affect me maybe the most. I definitely have learned to use a set of Mons, a set of not really type of Mons, but like a set of Mons that I just started to master. over literal years. You know, so much Volcaronos, a lot of Mamoswine, a lot of Porygon 2, those were all got banned, you know. And I might fall back on this team and pick some of the few other mons that I draft that I draft a lot but are some actually are legal, like Hariyama and Uxie. But this is what I got so far. Maybe I'll change halfway through, because I'm not really sure what to think about my team. You know, definitely a lot of things. I think a lot of these mons are like very threatening. I think I at least have that. And then, oh my gosh, what is Tower's team name? Yeah, that mon's good. The only 20-point mon that was legal. All the rest got picked in previous gens and got in the previous drafts and got banned. Yeah, we know what Ogerpon does. Follow me, Ivy Cudgel, Spiky Shield, all the coverage in the world. A stupid stab move that can crit. You know, decent bulk, fast. What more can you want from a Pokemon? Really? Fire Grass, good typing. You know, and then we have then we see like a string of like more, not bulky, more supportish type mons like Bronzong, Suicune, Alolan Persian. You know, these are mons that are not immediately hit super hard, but they have some staying power. You know, Bronzong, Suicune both bulky, and Bronzong has multiple abilities that can help on survivability. Like sometimes you may want Levitate, sometimes you want Heat Proof. Definitely always nice to have two abilities that can be useful. And Alolan Persian's for like fluffy ability that doubles defense or whatever it's called for coat. Really broken ability, helps you against physical attacks a lot. Then we got Iron Boulder. And, you know, having any move that can hit through Protect always muddies things for the opponent, where you can't really play guessing games against Iron Boulder. You just have to get rid of it because, like, oh, I protected, and oops, there goes my protect. Raikou as a fast electric type attacker, that's always nice to have, especially because especially because I felt like that was kind of not that many were left. I felt like, but seeing them, there are definitely other electric types, but fast electric types, I felt kind of hard to come by. Aegislash is always just a good mon. Good Tricker Room that can synergize with Bronzong. Tornadus Therian. Regenerator, and especially in a format with their 6 mons is even better. And Regenerator is still good in VGC. But yeah, that's always nice. I think Grafai, Prankster support, I like it as a last pick. Just for Encore stuff, you know, taunt stuff, change weather. Very nice pick for what he was lacking, because he needed maybe some more immediate presence to disrupt things, because he has some decently fast ones. Iron Boulder can definitely be super fast with the Work Drive boost, but just another option for something that is always nice. Definitely a good mix of like offensive mons and like more support mons. And the good thing about these is these offensive mons, I feel like most of them at least have a bit more utility than usual. Like Harflame can follow me, that's always nice. You know, the Aegislash can switch between bulky, from its bulky mode to its offensive mode, stuff like that. I feel like he has to be a little bit careful of letting his offensive mons die. What if like he has a mon, like if he doesn't bring like an offensive mon, like 2 of them die, like he might be floundering to like finish off opponents and stuff like that. But I think he'll be able to figure it out with what he's got. He's got tools to get there. We have the Landorcerian Dating Simulator, and this team makes me so mad. Not because like the team itself gets me mad. It's that how did Fallon get all of her favorite mons when I tried to ban them? Like she's had Premier Volcanion Lucario in like 4 drafts already. How are these still on the board? Like, oh yeah, she doesn't matter. I don't get it. All I'm thinking is like the Kirby meme where it's King Dedede reading the menu like hot dog, taco, hamburger. I'm like, how did this happen? It's the same 3 Mons again. But yeah, the first 3 Mons, you can see like they're bulky offensive Mons. We're not necessarily fast, but they hit hard and they can take hits fairly well. That's always a good archetype of Mons to have, especially if you can get them, if you can give them a little boost in speed control. And definitely ways to do that. We have the you got Thunder Wave on like Rotom Wash, and Electros I'm sure has Thunder Wave. Not that because it's electric type. But yeah, there's still a bit of a fast mode. We got Lucario, which is the priority master of Mons. Yeah, definitely have to be a little bit worried of just kind of if you're getting hit by like super hyper offense, where it's like, oh, getting hit by choice banded Mons like side by side, and you can't take the hits because you don't have the easiest way to get speed control immediately. So that's definitely something to think about. I think maybe Galarian Articuno as Trick Room probably does it as a psychic type, but yeah, definitely has to be worried about that if against just like. How many of these Mons are above 100 base speed? Is it just Marshadow? I might be just Marshadow here. I think it's maybe Lucario's above base 100. And Lucario can cheat its way through it with a bunch of priority. But yeah, just like anything above mediocre speed definitely gets her here. But definitely can bulk out some of the hits against the... if you're against like a really slow team, this team is great. It's bulky enough to take those hits, and it's fast enough to outspeed them. Because these Mons aren't terribly slow for the most part, but... Definitely want to see how this team plays against teams that hit super fast and super hard. Seeing how you pivot, finding ways to get a crucial Thunder Wave or trick them off, I think will be very important for this team. But yeah, definitely having some water types against a bunch of the fire types that we've seen and that we will see, I think is a good thing to have. And Jack, he hasn't given me a team name yet, so until further notice, his team name is Stinky Smelly Bad. That's his fault. He had several days to take up with the team name, so he's like that until he comes up with a team name. Jeez. A lot of these Mons are like VGC staples somehow. Like, it's the classic where Jack front loads the crap out of his team, and then like, you know, he's out of points by the 6th round. But yeah. No, Ursaluna, we've seen that everywhere this gen. Gouging Fire has definitely had moments where it's been really good. Sinistcha definitely has moments where it's been good, especially in lower power level formats. Bascu Legion has been very good in the no legendary formats. Thundurus Incarnate, of course, we all know one of the most infamous VGC Mons ever. Pepluffini, just a really good Mon. Dominic Jane 7. Him on top has won Worlds. Like, these are just a bunch of Mons that have been good in doubles before. And how they synergize with each other is going to be very interesting. Because I don't think they have that much inherent synergy with each other. Like, yeah, you could, like, howl with Gouging Fire to boost your attack of Ursaluna, but, like, does Ursaluna really need an attack boost? No. But these are good Mons, and, you know, Gouging Fire and Sinistcha definitely are flexible enough to where, like, oh, do I want to be support Mon, or do I want to be selfish with the Mon? I want that as my win condition. With, like, oh, Gouging Fire can Dragon Dance, and the Sinistcha can Calm Mind instead of doing, like, Rage Powder, Trick Room stuff. But yeah. I feel like this team is a bit weak to just the move knockoff in general. At least seeing the first 4 Mons, 3 of them really don't want to get knocked off, either because they're weak to it, or like you're losing Flame over an Ursaluna that's really rough. Definitely be careful about dancing, not getting hit by knockoff, because that could be bad. But yeah, these Mons have quite a legacy in doubles, and how he puts the team, because last draft, he had like obvious synergy. He's like, oh, I have Unburdened Tailwind with my Psychic type and Psychic Terrain, and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, I have the Psychic Steve, like, bulk up stuff. I don't think the inherent synergy is right there, but, you know, if there's one thing that Jack can do better than basically anyone, it just use good Mons to do good things. All right, James, who is the Goober Goldangos. There we go. This team is it's got some threats, man. That's what I have to say about that. You know, Mons that are like can run away with the game if things go poorly. You know, he's got some like Sun synergy without an easy way to set up Sun, but like in like against like Ryan, for example, who has like probably is gonna bring Sun on because that's his entire team. He just like procs the Walking Wake in the Screamtail Forum for the Photosynthesis boost, which is really scary. And then obviously that boosts up Blaziken fire type moves. Yeah. And then he also has like a bunch of these water type threats can also like, oh, if the Sun's gone, he can still threaten a bunch of these fire types. So definitely threatening here. And you definitely have like alternate modes, like, you know, you can set up the Mimikyu for like Trick Room if you need to. Don't think this team's particularly great in Trick Room, but definitely has that utility. But like, yeah, a bunch of mons that can definitely snowball the game. You know, Blaziken, yeah, one sword stands up to Blaziken, that could be an issue. You know, Goldango, Mastipod, Naked Rain's always an issue. You know, Greninja, Battle Bond, stuff, and that's, oh boy, that's when things come bad. Yeah, and then, you know, you have Garganacl, which is Garganacl in an endgame scenario can just like win matchups that you don't think it should win just by like Protect, Recover, Salt Cure, just staying alive forever. And if you just don't have enough offensive firepower, Garganacl can just you can just clean up end games here. Not really that and Screamtail, I think, can be like really annoying together. Just like those are like two of the most annoying disruptive mons possible. Where like, okay, you're chipping them down and like oh, they like try to protect like Assault Cure and like encore them into like getting chipped down and not being, and if they can't switch, that's a big issue, and they're just taking chip damage while you just keep on recovering back up. Definitely want to see how Garganacl kind of plays with this mons that are on the, at least on the first hand, at least the more powerful mons are more offensive in general. But Garganacl definitely can also be an offensive threat. Its stats are just so good. And last up, we have the Heatran of Justice, captained by Joe. This was one of the big reasons why I picked Tornadoes. I saw that he doubled up Heatran Whimsicott, and I went, oh no. You can't get much scarier than that. You know, Tailwind, Eruption, boom, you know, and it also has more synergy because of that, just on their typing, you know. Oh, you want to use a water type move against Heatran? Whimsicott can hit you with a grass move. Oh, you want to fighting type move the Heatran? Well, Whimsicott can Moonblast you, and since even though Whimsicott's not that strong offensively, Moonblast is just such a broken move that like it's an issue. And we got Primeape. We have, I guess it's just like a bulky mon that just tank hits. I'm not really sure what the actual goal prime is. Doing Zoroark, that always can be some fun mon games. Well, fun for him, not fun for me. Zoroark. Yeah, Zoroark with mind games. Chien-Pao. Yes, just that is like a big like go mon. Where you can, the Chien-Pao Palafin combo definitely is like, okay, you get the Palafin in the hero form when you Chien-Pao. It's like almost like the classic like Chien-Pao Dragonite where you just mash priority moves. Palafin's a bit faster, which is nice, and obviously you can, I think Dragonite was banned, I'm not sure. Like, you can't do like the Terranor Extreme Speed because Extreme Speed is banned, but like, hey, you can twist ban Jet Punch with lower defense, and Palafin's a bit faster, so you may not even need to click Jet Punch. So, that's a spooky combo. Lone Buck, a lot of utility, you know. Just being a poison dark type with it's just such a good typing, being only weak to ground. That's always such a nice thing to have. It's such a good typing. And then we got Minior, which can do Shell Smash stuff. Alolan Raichu and Shiftry. You know, Shiftry always has the benefit of being a grass type that is immune to one of the most common fire type moves, Heat Wave, and like it's covered like Hurricane. Just really nice ability there. And then also Wind Rider, of course, with Strengths or Tail, and that's always scary. Especially grass and dark cover, that's pretty good coverage. And Raichu for it's you know, Roll Iron True's fast, and I'm sure there'll be got Fake Out. I think Raichu has Fake Out, so I assume it does. So there's even some utility in the Mon that stats are not really that good. But yeah, that's it. Matches start next week. My voice is shot, but I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but yeah, I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.